Welcome to SUSECON. I'm Greg Muscarella. I lead the Enterprise Container Management Business Unit here at SUSE. Enterprises are harnessing the freedom that containers bring to deploy their applications in the public cloud, in their data centers, and in all the places that they need to deliver services, including their stores, their factories, ships, cars, and yes, even satellites. Every day, we're seeing our customers take advantage of the flexibility that containers and Kubernetes offer, such as a large financial trading firm that looks to take advantage of AWS and GCP for their algorithmic training, so they can easily take advantage of the cloud that serves them best without refactoring their code. Or the video game publisher that utilizes Rancher to serve their massively multiplayer online experience, with the capability of spin up or spin down capacity as gamers log on or log off. Or the satellite operator that turned to Rancher and cloud native as their business evolved from managing a handful of satellites to thousands, a scale that was not previously even imagined. As Kubernetes becomes more established in the enterprise, we're seeing the challenges that they face evolve. The increase in production workloads running on Rancher is bringing more attention to security. Customers are asking, how can they protect their workloads and data? The demand to run Kubernetes in more extreme environments, including edge locations, has customers looking to leverage bare metal deployments. And as multi and hybrid cloud environments grow, our customers need a consistent platform to help them manage their clusters. They can be hosted anywhere. In the last 12 months, Rancher has hit many significant milestones designed to enable our customers to overcome these challenges. In October, we acquired NeuVector. It bolstered our container portfolio with the industry's only end-to-end zero-trust container security solution. NeuVector can protect Kubernetes workloads anywhere, from the public cloud to the edge. In December, we announced the general availability of Harvester, our 100% open source solution for running Rancher and virtual machine-based workloads directly on your favorite bare metal, eliminating the need for any third-party or closed source hypervisor. In April this year, we released SleepMicro 5.2, a lightweight Linux distribution designed to help our customers optimize their workloads at the edge. And just this May, at KubeCon Europe, we launched NeuVector 5.0 and Rancher 2.6.5, giving our customers and community better visibility, access, and risk management across their multi-cluster and multi-cloud Kubernetes environments. SUSE's investment across our Rancher portfolio is part of our commitment to be the leader in cloud native and to support our customers everywhere. And speaking of our customers, they aren't just users of Rancher, they're pioneers in the cloud native space. Today, they're using Rancher to solve new problems and redefine their businesses. I had a chance to sit down with Andreas Pulschel, head of edge computing and container runtime at BMW, on how they're using Rancher to keep their factories at the forefront of automotive manufacturing.
Hello and welcome everyone. I've got Andreas Pulschel here with me. He is the head of edge computing and container runtimes at BMW, and we're here to talk about how BMW is adopting containers. So welcome, Andreas.
Thanks, Greg.
Hey, I just want to get this kicked off real quick to kind of think about what the high level is at BMW. Would you mind telling us a bit about, what the strategic direction is for IT and applications at BMW?
Yeah, of course. As we are currently seeing a big increase of modern requirements of new use cases, we are currently driving a public cloud first strategy at BMW. We are still in the space of kicking off that move of also existing workloads to public cloud, developing new workloads only on public cloud, and therefore leveraging the potential of public cloud services. Besides that, there's also this edge part. So to us, public cloud always means public cloud plus edge where necessary, because it's all cloud native workload. It has to be cloud native. It's not just classical IT 2.0. It's a completely new concept, new approaches, new ways of operating, of developing, and therefore the big move is towards public cloud first.
No, it makes sense. And a lot of people, when they move to public cloud, there's sort of a choice that they make. They either want to kind of go deep on one cloud and kind of get commitment there so they can kind of go and use all the services on that side. And some want to be a little bit more multi-cloud oriented, right? So they want to stay up. And that's one of the advantages that a Kubernetes or cloud native environment brings, is they can kind of move between clouds, not momentarily, but it's a little bit easier to architect across clouds. Does BMW have a strategy on this?
So yes, we also work with two primary public cloud offers, and Usually it is dependent on the area of the application or the business. So in all of the different processes, we have got more one primary cloud provider and the other one being secondary. But nevertheless, we would like to be able to switch back and forth, as you mentioned, not instantly, but more from a strategic perspective. So it should be possible to have the same services available also with another partner.
So you're looking for that flexibility should you need it
Indeed. And also to leverage the services which suit the requirements best, because every cloud provider has got its own strengths and weaknesses, and therefore we would like to leverage the services that fits our requirements best in each area of the application or the business.
Totally makes sense. But if I think about BMW, right, you guys have operations around the world, right? And so while you move a lot of your applications into public cloud, no doubt you have, compute needs down in your factories and other locations. So what do you use there, and what are the applications that you're running for things that maybe you can't move to the public cloud?
So currently we, of course, have this classical setup where we use virtual machines in cloud data center, in plant data centers, and also in central locations. And what we are now doing is move the core components towards public cloud, so we can leverage the PaaS services and even SaaS services there. On the other hand, we have got some parts of these applications which are directly connected to locations, where we need a connection to production systems, to shop floor. We have got requirements in terms of low latency. We've got high data volume where we don't want or are not able to send the big data volume back and forth to cloud and back. And therefore, we will have this edge part in plant locations primarily, but we could also think of other smaller locations. And these will be kind of extension of the public cloud into our own infrastructure, into our own locations.
So I get that the latency and the bandwidth constraints. Could you give me like an example of like the type of application that you'd run there, so we can sort of wrap our heads around a little bit?
So in terms of latency, as one example, just imagine you have got some automated logistic devices in the plant where you try to control logistic trains, autonomous logistic elements. And in terms of latency, if you just imagine a fairly slow vehicle, 6 kilometers per hour, and then a typical latency to public cloud of 50 to 60 milliseconds, the distance this slow vehicle would move within the 60 milliseconds would be 10 centimeters. So that's enough to crash into something if really necessary. If we go on edge and are at the 1, 2, 3 millisecond range, that's down to 5 millimeters. So that would be something where we really need that low latency. Or in terms of communication to some components on the shop floor where it is about synchronous communication, you just cannot do that directly to the cloud. In terms of high data volume, just imagine lots of cameras, high density, high definition cameras taking pictures and videos of the cars moving along, of the paint shop or during the final assembly, where we try to find issues, errors, and therefore improve the quality by that visual measurement. And that creates also a high amount of data, and it makes sense to pre-process that on edge and then do maybe the final work in a central public cloud environment.
Thanks. That actually helps me understand a lot better. Those are very interesting applications as well, and I can see the challenge that you guys face. So when I look at these types of applications, like what made cloud native as an architectural choice attractive to you? Why did BMW go in that direction?
So in the past, one of the issues were always maintenance, upgrades, dependencies, and therefore, of course, the move from this old VM-based operating system, monolithic style, to modern applications, containerized and orchestrated, usually via Kubernetes, is the natural evolution from our perspective, because there we can have the best separation of the workload and the underlying infrastructure. We have the opportunity to do really zero downtime maintenance, planned at least, and therefore improve the availability of the system. On the other hand, we reduce the effort to maintain it, to make sure that all the components work together because they are perfectly encapsulated, and then we can have the separate release cycles on the different components without interfering.
So kind of both getting the microservices sort of architecture, right? So like you said, independent services that can be updated and swapped out individually.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. That all sounds fantastic. And now, you've been working with Rancher for a little while in your factories. Like, what did Rancher bring to your architecture, your environment? Why did you choose Rancher for your factories?
So we were looking for some management interface where we can really work with all the different plants. We've got different locations, different setups, but nevertheless, we would like to help our internal customers, which are the application groups, the DevOps teams, to manage several clusters in several locations the same way in terms of user management, in terms of policies. And what we appreciated with Rancher was the opportunity to work on different infrastructure platforms. We are using Harvester right now, and there we have got the opportunity to use our standard servers actually out of the regular purchasing. We use those servers with a lot of disks in there, combine that with Longhorn to have a storage system and have this hyper-converged infrastructure based on Harvester. And we can manage and maintain that on one hand on a very low level, Harvester cluster itself, or on high level with Rancher, and that combination is something that gives us the benefit of lower effort.
That's fantastic. I'm glad that we had the tools to fit into your environment, how you want to work and how your business works. So I'm looking forward to more success on that front. Now, if we took and kind of look forward a little bit more, what do you see coming next for BMW at the edge and with containers everywhere?
Good question, because actually this is a fairly new journey, and currently we are also collecting our experience. We have got a very good footprint on premises. We started to do a lot of things in cloud with specific workloads, but now as we see this migration and the transformation of this classical workloads into public cloud, into modern architecture, modern concepts, I hope that we will reduce the overall effort a lot because we are able to use higher levels of services coming from infrastructure as a service to PaaS and SaaS services, and therefore reducing the overall IT effort. On the other hand, improving the service for the business, gaining speed, gaining stability, improving availability, and that's, from my perspective, the main reason to go on that journey towards public cloud and edge, which belongs together, as I mentioned.
Made some awesome first steps on that, and I'm looking forward to seeing how BMW continues to innovate. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and for taking the time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What a great example of BMW's ingenuity and Rancher's power and flexibility. And flexibility is something that our customers appreciate. They can deploy and manage robust Kubernetes clusters with their data centers utilizing RKA2, lightweight clusters in their edge locations using K3S, and utilize their favorite managed Kubernetes services such as Amazon's EKS, Microsoft's AKS, and Google's GKE, all with Rancher. With Longhorn, probably the easiest storage solution for Kubernetes, customers can handle their stateful workloads in a snap. What we find most important for our customers is the ability to choose what technologies best meet their needs and can rely on our broad partner ecosystem to help build and deploy their applications quickly. And speaking of partners, we're excited to have Sanjeev Kamboj, Head of Application and Multi-Cloud Services from Fujitsu, join us to discuss how SUSE and Fujitsu together are helping customers scale their business for the future. Hello and welcome to Sanjeev Kamboj, who's the CTO of Cloud Partners and Ecosystem at Fujitsu. Sanjeev, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Greg. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, live in person.
Hey, I want to kick this off just by understanding what is the intersection between Fujitsu and containers, Kubernetes, Rancher? Like how does Fujitsu make customers' lives better in this area?
Sure, Greg. It's a fantastic opening question. So let's go a little bit back in time. and explain how we saw the market evolving. So in 2018, Fujitsu created its multi-cloud strategy and told the market that it will be a multi-cloud integrator, reseller of choice for those organizations that we wanted to take on a multi-cloud journey. Now, initially, we saw a tremendous uptake in what I would call the IS lift and shift sort of marketplace, and we took a lot of those organizations and moving those workloads, those complex workloads, into cloud across a multi-cloud vendor ecosystem. And what we're seeing right now is that transformation journey really accelerating into the next phase of their growth, and that's really around moving those workloads and transforming them to modern applications. And modern applications require different deployment mechanisms, different strategies, and that's where we're really seeing the container world really explode. And that's really why we feel the need to take those organizations on to their next evolution and working with key partners such as yourself to make that realizable.
Makes tremendous sense. We see these sort of parallel trends as well. Like there's this continuing trend to the cloud, which is ongoing and going strong. But now there's this move to containers, right, from virtual machines as well. So this modern application, as you call it, have different challenges than what application developers and enterprises are used to facing. What do you see as the key scaling? And another thing that's pretty popular these days is security. So how do I scale and secure these dynamic applications?
So because of the organizations that we deal with, particularly in government as well, public sector, but a lot of private sector organizations, security is absolutely paramount to their future. We're also seeing a lot of these organizations, particularly in manufacturing, moving to edge computing and IoT. So what we're seeing is a couple of things here. First of all, as I mentioned, the complexity is very challenging. And second of all, the attack surface is increasing. And this then lends itself to the whole concept of zero trust architectures. So my attack surface is increasing, the complexity is increasing, and I'm really delighted to see that SUSE has developed a technology set that absolutely intrinsically tries to solve that problem through its new vector solution. And that's really great because it's addressing things such as availability, compliance, governance, which are really important for the organizations that we serve. So that combined with the Rancher technology together is a fantastic platform to actually address those security challenges in a holistic context.
So what do you see as the upcoming challenges that customers might face? If we look a year, 2, 3 down the line, what are you seeing?
We've seen a significant shift actually as we're coming out of the pandemic as to how organizations want to reimagine themselves going forward, so the next digital version of themselves. And we're seeing sourcing models change significantly as well, moving to a much more concept of a dynamic sourcing model, where instead of asking the market for RFP and RFI type answers, we're seeing organizations say, well, how will you build my next generation of modern applications? How will you reimagine my organization? And by setting broad, complex challenges of which then we are asked to solve in a co-creation model. And I think the whole co-creation model is really important because organizations get to work with partners, trusted partners, and they get to see what they will build. What will be the deployment on day one, which is becoming a very key concern, as opposed to show me the answer to something which I perhaps may or may not realize. And that, I think, is we're seeing a significant shift in that model. This allows organizations such as ourselves to work and solve the next generation of complex challenges and to really take our customer base on that transformation journey that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, no, makes sense. And I think that's one of the amazing advantages of the open source business model too, right? So customers can try, make sure that the software does what it says on the tin and then move forward with that if it does. So SUSE and Fujitsu have worked together for a long time. How do you see Rancher, SUSE, Fujitsu working together in the future? How are we going to solve customer problems together?
Well, we've over 20-year history of working together, but certainly in the last couple of years that I've seen of our close collaboration with the Rancher platform is that you've really helped us as an organization to upskill and learn. And this has been really important for us because it allows sales professionals to have the confidence to have the next level of conversation, the next generation of conversation that they need to have around transforming to modern applications. It helps our architecture teams and our cloud platform teams to really have the confidence around how do I create, how do I solution, and how do I take my organizations onto that next journey. I'm really looking forward to the next step of learning a new vector with yourselves and then in a co-sell model, which I mentioned, around creating the next generation of modern applications for those organizations and really taking them on that transformation.
Well, I think you're right. I think, look, the world keeps changing. Our customers, our mutual customers, keep evolving to meet the challenges of their new realities. And I think we're going to keep evolving together to figure out how we can help them solve their problems. Sanjeev, thanks so much for joining me here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg, and really look forward to working with SUSE going forward. Thank you.
Awesome.
Another partnership I'd like to highlight is with our community. We have a long history of strong advocacy for open source. In January, we announced that we had open sourced the NuVector codebase, giving the community its first open source container security platform. As part of our commitment to the Kubernetes community, we've also submitted the NuVector project Open Zero Trust to the CNCF. We've also been busy with releases, and a few weeks ago, we launched NuVector 5 and Rancher 265 at KubeCon Europe. Glenn Kosaka, our security product manager, will give us a quick demo of NuVector.
NuVector 5.0 is the first open source version of NuVector, and we've added several exciting new features to the container security platform. The first is integration with Rancher Manager, where you can easily deploy NuVector onto your Rancher Kubernetes cluster from the apps and marketplace. Find the Helm-based NuVector chart, configure deployment options, and in minutes, you'll add a security layer onto your cluster. Then you'll see a NuVector menu and badge appear, which will take you directly to manage NuVector through single sign-on with your Rancher credentials. You'll then be able to view your cluster from a security perspective and configure scanning and runtime security either through the console or build security YAML declarations with custom resource definitions to automate zero trust security controls. In 5.0, we've added zero drift protection for workloads, which automatically scans container images and creates a protection profile to block processes and file activity that is not derived from the original image. This eliminates manual configuration and testing of application-specific workload rules, enabling you to immediately start protecting workloads. Of course, you can manually add and customize the approved process and file activity list if desired. NuVector's industry-leading network protection is enhanced in 5.0 with Web Application Firewall Protections, or WAF, which use deep packet inspection to detect attacks on web applications, such as those in the OWASP Top 10 list. This can be continually enhanced. And with a subscription to SUSE support for NuVector, you'll get immediate access to the latest WAF rules for exploits such as the recent Log4j vulnerability. The WAF feature can also be used for API security, inspecting outgoing connections from your workloads to external API services to reduce the chance of exploit. With these 5.0 enhancements, plus added CRD support for WAF, DLP, and admission control rules, NuVector is easing the deployment and configuration of security through Rancher integration and automated security policies.
Our Rancher 265 release adds support for the latest Kubernetes version 1.24 and a few key features. First, integration with NuVector means that Rancher admins with appropriate permissions can jump directly into the NuVector interface and simply configure their security policies. Second, the Prometheus Federator feature has been designed to help operators easily access and isolate their Prometheus metrics. This provides teams with multi-tenant monitoring across their environments that are visible within Rancher. And next, general availability of the highly anticipated new distribution from SUSE, RKE2. RKE2 is a FIPS-compliant, feature-enhanced distribution that has been designed to help pass CIS benchmarks with minimal manual intervention by operators. And finally, we've enhanced Windows support with the GA of RKE2. Operators now get access to experimental GMSA tooling. This enables operators with .NET applications with the ability to maintain security best practices in container environments. These two solutions are at the forefront of SUSE's container strategy, but innovation remains top of mind for the Rancher team and our customers. However, innovation doesn't stop with us. It extends to our customers too. Let's hear from Paolo Perucci, head of IT operations at the leading Italian insurance company, Sera Assicurazioni, on how SUSE's Rancher portfolio is helping them think future forward.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome now Paolo Peruzzi from Sarah, an insurance company out of Italy. And he's been kind enough to tell us about what's been going on with his company for the last couple of years and how Future Forward sort of affects him. So Paolo, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Greg.
So just to kick things off, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your company and then also a little bit about maybe how you guys have navigated the challenge of the last couple of years, how you've used technology to kind of really adjust to all the changes that you and your customers have faced.
Yeah, absolutely. Sara Assicurazioni is an Italian medium-sized insurance company. We are based in Italy. We are 600 employees with 3,000 sales agents, and we have around 1 million customers at the moment. And we sell motors, property and casualty, and life insurance policies.
Paolo, maybe you can tell us a little bit, what does Future Forward mean to Sarah Assicurazioni and its customers?
From an IT perspective, Future Forward means to give the company all tools to be able to offer our customers the best experience. And for example, this tool includes what a company needs to innovate in our sector, in the insurance space, and also to react quickly to market changes. And this is the reason why in 2018 we began our journey towards the adoption of new digital technologies such as the cloud and containers.
That sounds amazing. Sounds like a journey we see a lot of our customers on as well. If you look forward a little bit more, you look forward for the next, several years, what are some of the top technology needs or top priorities that you and your company have?
I think that every successful company should have a clear long-term IT strategy that should evaluate benefit using cutting-edge technology applied to the specific context in order to create value for the company. So say that I don't know where Sara Assicurazioni will be in 5 or 10 years, but I know the path we should follow to stay and grow in our market in the years to come. At the moment, I can say that this path surely includes leveraging all the benefits of a container management platform along with a multi-cloud strategy.
Well, that's actually quite interesting. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how SUSE can help with some of those things and how you're leveraging us. And then, we can also go into a little bit, I'd love to hear a bit more about your multi-cloud strategy.
In a sentence, I would say that SUSE helped us to innovate through digital transformation with Kubernetes. For many years, the Sara Assicurazioni ran critical internal business application, including the insurance platform and the claims system on monolithic technologies. And as the company grew, we realized that we needed to scale quickly and to have more modern tool to manage the rapidly expanding infrastructure. So with an eye on the cloud migration and with the desire to work in an open agnostic way, Kubernetes and SUSE Rancher have become core technology today in our company stack.
Well, that's great to hear. And I'm happy that we can work together and help you achieve what your objectives are for your company. You did mention multi-cloud strategy as part of what your journey is. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more like why? Why did you kind of go multi-cloud and how does that play into your future?
The decision to work with AWS and Google Cloud, public cloud services, come from our desire to bring more flexibility to our infrastructure. These services today are market leaders and have proven to be mature enough to meet the tight regulation we have here in Italy, and we master there too. So from the start, we knew that a multi-cloud strategy will be the most direct route to reducing overheads and avoiding the vendor lock-in. So in 2018, we began to migrate our infrastructure from an on-prem data center to AWS and Google Cloud. During the migration, some systems could be manually lifted and shifted to the cloud, and our legacy application had to be rewritten from scratch. This was a very huge project for us, and the project completed at the end of 2019. And it was then that the team started to explore containers as a way to streamline our infrastructure in order to standardize the environment and simplifying the development process. So the journey to containerization began with the use of standalone containers in Docker. This way, we solved a lot of problems about workflow in order to have standard environments for our developers. So they was able to work on local machine or dev or staging server at the same way. As the number of containers increased and the architectures became more complex, at the end of 2019, the team decided to look for a management platform that can help us to manage all our containers. So we decided to leverage the benefit of open source interoperability, and we started working with Kubernetes. So we tested a couple of products, and at the end of the testing period, we decided to go with SUSE Rancher. There were many reasons behind this selection, but probably the most important was the easy of use. So the product it's very easy to install, to run, and in a couple of hours we created our first cluster in our development environment. Today we migrated almost all of our workloads, all workloads suitable to be deployed in a Kubernetes infrastructure.
Well, that sounds like an incredible amount of transformation, and it sounds like you and the development team have done a fantastic job of bringing Sarah into a modern cloud-native environment. I'm really pleased that we could be a part of that journey and help you make that with Rancher and hopefully easing that. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your relationship with SUSE and kind of how that has developed over time.
For us, SUSE is a global leader in open source innovation. It's well known for their best-in-class Linux operating system distribution, and from 2021 for Rancher, that is a market leader in Kubernetes management. With a powerful and modular approach to open source software, we can count on the reliability and the agility to innovate everywhere. So from the data center to the cloud.
Well, that's fantastic, and I really appreciate hearing from you on this. Paulo, it's been really a pleasure and an honor. I hope that we can continue to serve you well, and I thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Greg.
Yet our influence across the cloud-native space expands further than security and Kubernetes orchestration. As pioneers of the cloud-native space, we've continued to make substantial progress across some of our open source products and projects. With Harvester, we hit multiple milestones since its GA in December of just last year. We launched integration with the Rancher platform to give infrastructure operators a unified platform to manage all their container and virtualized workloads. We've also enabled the community with the ability to run Kubernetes on bare metal reliably, helping them to bring legacy virtualized workloads into a modern container-driven environment. And we've backed Harvester with a team of experts at SUSE to give our customers the option for extra help and support. We've heard the community's request for solutions that help developers code faster and speed application deployment. Earlier this year, we released Rancher Desktop 1.0, our open source project designed to help developers run Kubernetes and manage their containers environments right from their desktop. Rancher Desktop has grown over 300% since our 1.0 release in January, a testament to our commitment to building amazing tools for the community. Our next phase of growth will be focused on improving the cloud-native software supply chain by implementing operational consistency, helping IT operators and developers alike to fix, monitor, and build applications on containers more efficiently. Project Opinio helps ease your developer workflow by installing into any Kubernetes cluster to help bring application from source code to deployment in one step. And Project Opni provides a centralized observability plane for your infrastructure by ingesting Prometheus metrics from any Kubernetes cluster. These new open source projects have been designed to improve the application development experience, helping teams deliver their applications with better continuity. You can start contributing today on GitHub. Containers are the future, and it's our mission to be the leaders in this space. We've continued to support our wide network of customers, partners, and community with our investments into Rancher, NewVector, Harvester, Longhorn, and other projects. For our customers, the outlook on containers is exciting. And at SUSE, we're helping our customers build a comprehensive container-first stack with Rancher. So wherever our customers run their workloads, whether it's at the core, in the cloud, or at the edge, Rancher is going to be supporting our customers with our portfolio of solutions built today and ready for tomorrow. You can find out more at the SUSECON sessions or join our Slack or GitHub community. In closing, I'd like to reiterate Melissa's invitation for you to join SUSE in the Share the Meal Challenge. Together, let's support United Nations World Food Program and deliver 30,000 meals to victims of the war in Ukraine. Share the Meal makes it easy to help from your smartphone or browser. Just follow the QR code on your screen, and with a few taps on your phone and for less than $1, you can provide a meal to someone in need. I also invite you to check out the keynote interview with Desiree Echelbert, CEO of Share the Meal, as she talks about the incredible impact her organization is having in the effort to end world hunger. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of SUSECON.